Hey guys, welcome to Woodshop 101. This is episode number 126 for May 7th, 2018. On today's show, we're going to talk about Matt's Instagrowth and logo design. I'm Drew Short of the Rockin' H Woodshop, and I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Jeremy Crawford of the Countryside Workshop. How's it going, Jeremy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
I care.
And our guest host, Matt from MWA Woodworks. How's it going, Matt?
I am awesome. Thank you guys for having me on.
Well, you're just full of yourself, aren't you? Sam is MIA again this week. We actually record these shows back to back, so Sam was not available to be on this show. So I guess we're gonna have to suck it up again and try and get through this episode without her. But this is our Fast and Loose episode, so we're going to go ahead and get things started real quick. We want to thank our patrons, Michael Brindle, Devin Richter, Sean McHenry, Carl Mose, Neil Sims, Eric Rhoten, CW Craftsman, and Josh Luther. Thank you guys very much for being patrons of the show and helping the lights stay on here. Thank you very much again. If you'd like to support the show, you can head on over to woodshop101podcast.com/listen. Find our notes for today's episode, and you'll see links for small one-time donations and reoccurring ones. If you want to become a patron of the Patreon campaign that we have, then head on over to patreon.com/woodshop101. If you want to just become a patron slowly, you can purchase Woodshop 101 podcast t-shirts, hoodies, or Rev marker packs from the website. To find that, just go to countrysideworkshop.com/shop for the link. So we're going to move right on into the topic. And we have a couple of questions that were sent in through our Instagram and Facebook feeds. And this one comes from Henny Designs. That's HENNEY Designs. How or what did you do, Matt, to grow your Instagram account to the beast that it is?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
well, so when you scroll to your page and you see 192,000 followers, yeah. Crap. I want to know.
So there are these sites that you can go to and you pay them money and they get you followers. It's that simple. And then lots and lots of giveaways. That helps, right? And then bots that go out and comment on everybody's posts. And that is essentially how you grow an Instagram account.
If you want to get shut down.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. At least that's what it seems like these days, right? So
right.
No, but seriously, I have been on the platform for 4 years now, I guess. So, I mean, I've been at it for quite a long time. And I think it was about 2015 that I really decided to get serious about, number one, sort of the uniformity of the content that I was posting, but more importantly, the frequency with which I was posting. So I think I was on vacation with my family in 2015, and I had made the decision that before we left, I'd built up a bunch of content, pictures and stuff to share, and I made the decision that I was going to go on twice a day and post without fail. And I made that commitment, and I stuck with that for over a year before I finally backed down to once a day. But that in of itself, I think, was the key thing for me. And really, I think that goes for a lot of the social platforms is obviously, at being a visual medium, you've got to take good pictures and have good content. But the consistency, getting, when you've got a scroll type feed back in the day. So if you remember before all the Instagram algorithm changes that happened, it was just a chronological feed. And so the biggest thing was consistency in posting and making sure that you get yourself in front of eyeballs every day, and get the exposure and getting people familiar with your brand. So that was number one key for me. And when I started that, so that was probably in like September, October of 2015 when I made that commitment to myself that I was going to be extremely consistent with my posting. And in 2016, I blew up. I think I probably went from 8,000 followers in the fall of 2015 to over 100,000 followers by the end of 2016. And it was mainly just the consistency of posting good content, having a consistent theme across what you're posting. And then the other element, which was really key, was being engaged. And I think that is the number one thing on any of these social platforms, besides just consistency, is getting engaged and having a purpose. Whenever you log into or get onto your Instagram account, you're there for a purpose, right? So you're either posting content or you're reaching out to others who have posted content to engage with what they've done, having conversations, forming relationships, and for me, the other thing is looking for new markets and new potential customers for the product that I sell. So I think that's something unique for me that I've been trying to figure out how to maximize. Is I've got a lot of followers, but I've got like two distinct groupings of followers. So I've got, the greater sort of woodworking maker community where, the similar folks that are following all of us, right? We're just the big Instagram woodworking community, and there's a bunch of folks like that. But then there's also my customer base and the folks who aren't interested in how to make a cutting board. They're interested in the cutting board. And so those are two very different groups of people interested in different things. And for me, it's really easy to get the engagement because with the woodworking community, because they're so awesome on Instagram. It's way, and I don't publish to YouTube yet, but I understand, sort of how the feedback or that you get that maybe you don't want to get through comments and stuff on YouTube that aren't so great. But the Instagram community is really super awesome, very helpful, very engaging, ultra positive. You rarely do I get comments on my posts that are of a negative nature. So the point in saying all that is it's really easy to get the engagement in the woodworking community just based on the general content that I post. But it's a lot more work to go after the customers and to try to figure out how to build the relationships with the folks that ultimately are going to see your content and buy your product. And Instagram is certainly making that a lot easier with some of the business stuff that they've got going on and the shoppability of the pins. But you still have to get in front of those folks. And that is, you're not going to get a lot of organic growth like you would inside of the folks that are there really to engage you through the woodworking community. You're going to have to seek them out. And that's all about really getting out of sort of that bubble, the woodworking bubble, so to speak, and really start seeking out other hashtags, searching other posts like that, and trying to find out who are the folks that might be interested in the product that I'm selling and reaching out to them, just DM them, or start, commenting on their content. And I think that is really what has allowed me to continue to grow, even as sort of the Instagram platform and the algorithms and all of that have changed, is really maintaining that engagement. And like I said earlier, getting on the platform with a purpose. So we kind of talked about in the last episode, Facebook. I despise Facebook, but I despise it mainly because when I get on Facebook, all I do is troll my feed. And, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever later, I've done nothing. I've just sort of consumed that content and lost that time in my life that I can never get back. Well, I don't do that on Instagram. I'm always doing whatever it is that I'm doing with a purpose. So I'm either seeking out new customers, engaging with those folks, or just sharing in the greater woodworking community, which, like I said, is really, really great. But I think to boil it all down, my success has come from consistency in posting, engaging with the audience, whatever that audience is, and generally just producing really nice content. Those are kind of the three things that are going to allow you to grow on a visual platform like Instagram.
Awesome. Well, I know a lot of people they're frustrated with Instagram just because of the new algorithm changes. They feel that they're not growing as fast as what they were. They're just kind of wondering what they're doing wrong. And I'm one of them until I started doing the twice a day postings and using very relevant hashtags to the content that I was posting. Not just, I had a habit of having hashtags copied and pasted, and some of them didn't even relate to the stuff that I was posting on Instagram. They were just easy to cut and paste and just throw in there. And I noticed that my growth was really slowed down whenever that happened because it was just monotonous as far as those hashtags, and people, I guess, just weren't following them as much. But once I started putting the hashtags in there that were really relevant to that particular picture, I noticed my growth started to jump up in spikes here and there. Like I woke up this morning and I had 10 new followers, and I've never had that many followers in an overnight session. So I am like you. I am doing the 2 postings a day now. I'm going to try and do that for the next year and see how that will affect my growth. Plus, I'm doing these giveaways once a month for the entire year, and that seems to be helping quite a bit too. So yeah, there are tricks that I wouldn't say tricks. There's just techniques that you can use to help grow your Instagram following. It's just gonna be a little frustrating, I guess, in the beginning. So just stay consistent is basically what it is.
I went from the beginning. I mean, it probably took me over a year to get to like 5,000 or 6,000 followers. And then once I got to 10, that's when the floodgates just opened up. But again, that was a long time ago under different circumstances and different algorithms and whatever. So I don't know if such a thing would still apply, although there are accounts out there that are experiencing rapid growth on the platform in the woodworking community today. Mike Osborne, Mikey the Maker, I don't know if you guys follow him.
Oh, yeah.
But he is just exploding, and he's doing it through video. So he really makes heavy use of short video clips, and you know, I'd say he's probably 75% video, 25% pictures, and it's really working well for him. And so I met him actually at Workbench Con for the first time, and I'm sort of taking the lead from him on that and starting to produce a lot more short video and posting that to Instagram, because I think the videos just have more legs. And what I've noticed is where you might post a picture of you, I don't know, doing something simple like resawing on the bandsaw or cutting something on the table saw, or even something monotonous as sanding. You post an interesting enough video, and 3-4 days later, you're still getting likes, you're still getting comments. Those videos are still pulling in new followers, where I think the curve for pictures is a lot that it's a higher spike, but it's a shorter wavelength, I'll say. I don't know. The curve is much more steep on those, and they die off a lot faster than the videos. And I think if you can get to the point where you can produce enough content to put out 3, 4, 5 videos in a row, I think there's probably the potential to boost your growth significantly on the platform if you can manage to pull that off consistently.
Yeah, I agree. And we had talked to Jimmy DeResta on the last 2 episodes, and that was one of the things he mentioned was Mikey the Maker. And I have been doing the short little videos since then for like the past 2 weeks, and I have noticed a pretty good jump in my following because of that.
And stories too. Leveraging stories is another big thing. I think if you are if you're big on stories, even though the engagement rate is a lot lower on them, I think that they're still new enough that Instagram likes to promote people who are doing a lot of stories. So I think you're probably able to get a lot of, I would say, more artificial growth at this point out of utilizing stories, where I think that'll eventually die off, just because what I've noticed at least is you don't get a lot relative to your pictures and your videos, the eyeballs, you don't get a lot of them, because I think some people just don't use stories as much as they do the regular feed yet. And I don't know if that's how the stories are presented to people on the platform, but it doesn't seem to get the engagement and the level of eyes. But Instagram loves it, and I think they're promoting people who use that heavily. So that'd be another tip for people who are in the moment trying to grow their accounts.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, if Instagram releases a new feature, use the new feature, because they put it out for a reason. They're excited about it. They're probably going to boost those posts a little bit more than other posts, because they want to get that feature out and get other people looking at it and playing with it. So,
yep. Engage on the platform. Do what they want you to do, mm-hmm. And they'll reward you for it.
All right. Well, we hope that helps answer that question. So we've got one more, and it came from Kirby007. That's KERRB007.
That's 007. James Bond.
Kirby007. The inspiration behind your logo. How did you come up with that?
Oh, so the inspiration was laziness, and that is because I gave the task to my brother-in-law, who's a graphic designer, professional graphic designer. So I gave him the job back in 2014 of coming up with a logo. I had decided on MWA Woodworks. So I used to be, I think I was like Matt and Franklin or something like that was how I originally was on Instagram. But then when I finally decided to kind of give myself some branding, I went with the MWA Woodworks, and I gave him the job of kind of coming up with the logo. And interestingly, I hated it at first. Well, I didn't hate it. I was not moved by it. So I kind of saw it as, and I kind of realized later what a dumb idea that was. But I didn't see it as related enough to woodworking to be relevant, if that makes any sense. So it's an awesome logo, and I love it now, and it's so distinctive. But I couldn't see it at the time. I saw people with, tools in their logos and saw blades and wood grain and this, that. And I'm like, well, that's what I really need to be doing. But now kind of 4-year-older me on the platform says, no way, man. Like, you want to be distinctive with your logo. You want it to stick out. It doesn't have to be relevant to woodworking. It just needs to be something that's instantly recognizable. And I think that the couple of things that the logo has going for it is it's simple, it's high contrast. So the black and white really, I find, especially when Instagram redesigned the app and they went to the new color scheme and the new layout, my logo really stands out. So when I post a picture or I comment on someone's feed, it really stands out. Like the high contrast, the sort of angularity. I think I just invented that word, but like the sharp angles, it's just very distinctive. And I think I honestly think early on that helped with the engagement piece, because people could tell it was me really easily. You don't have to look too hard at that logo and read the fine print to know who it is that is posting the content or making the comment on other people's posts. And I didn't see any of that at first, but I'm sure glad that I stuck with it. And I think it's turned out to be an excellent brand that I can build off of. So, but yeah, my motivation was I am not a graphic designer. I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, but I know someone who's willing to do it for me. So that was that. The rest is history.
I know how you feel. I was kind of seeing the overuse of saw blades and hand planes and the wood grain stuff whenever I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with mine. And mine kind of evolved too. It was just my cursive handwriting at first, and I wanted it to be I wanted to stand out because whenever I was looking at these people's sticker walls, I couldn't find my sticker. I was like, where's it at? Okay, no, there it is. I changed it up to make that boom explosion and have my name inside that, and that does stand out. And it has nothing to do with woodworking. It's just something I built off of during my stint on YouTube, and people just started relating to it. So I just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I thought the same thing too. So I sent you do the whole sticker swap craze that happened, and you start sending your stickers out to people who produce content on YouTube, and it ends up, on a cabinet or a garage door or something that's the backdrop of their when they're shooting their videos. And yeah, I noticed that, and it might be because it's my logo, but I can look at someone's video still today and see my sticker really easily in that sea of stickers that's on the wall there. And I think, again, it's that high contrast black and white, angles everywhere type logo, like you're saying. The boom explosion is the same thing, but it really sticks out. It really shows.
Mm-hmm. And Jeremy's got a new logo now that stands out.
Yep.
So wait, you got an example, don't you?
Yeah.
He's digging for it.
Trying to get it out of my desk.
We went back and forth with this logo over and over and over with him, trying to come up with the best look.
Is this a world debut here?
No. I debuted it, I don't know, several months back now. I've officially done rebranding with it. So this was my original logo.
Okay.
And then this is the new one that I went to.
Oh yeah, the barn. Yes, that's awesome.
And I had the problem with my logo for the longest time. Like it was good at the time. It lasted me a year, but I just, like everybody else, man, I didn't feel like it said anything about me as a person or as a company. I didn't care if it really was woodworking. And so I bounced ideas off of them, and I was like, hey, when you hear my business name, what do you think about? Like, I don't necessarily think it's my logo's job to say he's a woodworker. That's my content's job. That's my job. And so I said, what do you guys hear? And they're like, oh, I think about barns. I think about the country and hills. And so I took that and I played around with a couple different ideas, and I created something that was similar to that. And I was like, all right, I sent them to a couple different versions. Like, what do y'all like? They were like, we like this one. And then I hired a graphic designer to take that design and refine it and make it a little bit better. And then it came out way better than I ever thought, because they still added subtle hints of woodworking in there. Like one of the O's is in the shape of a saw blade, and they put some crossed hammers on it and some chisels down in it. But it really defines, like, when you hear countryside, you really see the barn, you really see the rooster on top, and it kind of ties the business name into the logo, versus my old one never really did. So
yeah, they did a good job on it.
And I like that they sent it to me in black and white. I wasn't sure about it for the longest time, and I've had the logo for almost a year, and finally about a few months ago I rebranded. I just wasn't sure that the black and white, I was like, man, it needs some color. So I started playing around with the file and adding some color, and I was like, I hate that. I hate it. Change it back to black and white. And I was like, dude, it just looks so clean now. So
I think it goes good on Instagram. I really am a big fan of and there are several other people that I follow on Instagram that have just the straight black and white logo. I just think it works so well on that particular platform. Now, obviously, when you're branding, you got to think about way more than just how you look on Instagram. But I think on that platform, it works really super well.
Yeah.
What do you guys prefer, using your logo on Instagram or a picture of yourself? Because I have a picture of myself right now.
I'm gonna say logo. I mean, that's my personal preference is logo because I want people to associate my brand, whether it be customers, because they may not know what I look like, but they know what my branding looks like.
Yeah.
And they so they see my brand, and then that draws them into the content where they'll learn what I look like and my personality. I changed it up a little bit. So Instagram, that's how it is. For YouTube, I've changed it, but that's because anytime somebody goes to YouTube, they see your header image. So my header image has all my branding on it, and my profile image, the little circle one on YouTube, is a picture of me. But that's because there's both of them at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But when there's one or the other, I prefer to have my business logo on there because I want people to associate and learn what my branding looks like. So that way when they see it on a t-shirt, they're like, oh, hey, I've seen that on Instagram. Oh, hey, that's on YouTube. That's here, that's there. And it learns to be an afterthought. So that's why I do it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Get behind your brand. If you've decided to brand yourself or your business, get behind the brand, especially if you're on the selling side, product side. People don't care what you look like. If you're on the content side, there's probably something to consider there, where people are going to get familiar with you, like you said, through your YouTube videos or whatever. So they're going to see and get to know you just by the content that you produce. So I even for content creators, I would say, get behind your brand. And let that be the thing that speaks for your business.
Well, here's the thing: is your branding can and should change over the course of time, but for the most part, your logo doesn't date itself. You may shave your beard off and then look completely different, and somebody's going to look at that and be like, "Who's that? I don't know who that is, so I'm going to unfriend him." Or you're wearing something different in that picture, whatever it is. Your look is easily changed, and people's image of you, and this goes back to profiling that I've learned in my day job, is when you see something that's what image is stuck in your head. So the last time I saw my grandfather, that's the image that I still see to this day. Well, so you had a client 6 months ago, and you may have lost some weight or gained some weight or grew a beard, but the last time they saw you, you looked a one way. They're not going to necessarily recognize you now. Versus your brand, they're going to recognize your brand. They're going to know that logo. It's going to be on that business card you gave them. It's going to be on the piece of work that you maybe branded with your logo, or a card or a gift or something that you gave them that continues to have that logo on it. So,
yeah, good points. I may just end up changing mine now.
Give it a try. See if it
take the plunge.
Yeah, see if you. I mean, the worst thing is it doesn't work for you and you go back. That's the benefit of social media, is you can make a change and see how the trend goes, if it works for you, or if it doesn't. You can always play around with it.
Okay. Well, those were some really good questions. We appreciate everyone for sending not only this week's, but last week's, if I failed to mention that on the last episode. But these questions always give us a good jumping off point, and we tend to kind of add on to that. So thank you guys very much for sending those in once again. I would like to remind you guys that if you listen to us on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating if you haven't done so already. Just head on over there, find Woodshop 101 Podcast. Leave us a rating, make sure it's 5 stars, and it helps us reach a greater audience in the future. So you guys have heard Matt on the show, and if you guys have not heard of Matt, he is just the master of cutting boards. I mean, he just makes some gorgeous stuff. So Matt, if we have some makers out there that are interested in becoming cutting board makers, how can they get in contact with you to ask you some questions like I did?
Yep. So I am MWA Woodworks anywhere. So just Google that term. You'll find me on all of the various platforms that I exist on. You can reach out to me through direct message on Instagram or mwawoodworks@gmail.com. And if you are interested in a cutting board, you can visit my shop, or even if you just want to check it out and get some ideas about the online business, that's shopmwawoodworks.com.
Very cool. And if you want to get in contact with Jeremy and myself, we do have our own respected websites, which is countrysideworkshop.com and rhwoodshop.com. There you'll find contact information, along with Sam's contact, which is samryandesigns.com. I didn't want to leave her out since she is missing tonight. But if you can contact us through the contact section, you can send us feedback, questions, comments, concerns, what have you, and we will also feature that on the show. You can reach the podcast for all three of us, including the guest host, if you choose to do so, via the email of kickback@woodshop101podcast.com. We also have a voicemail number that you can call and give us an audible message that we can play on air, which is 409-234-3959. And if you have the voice memo app on your phone, record your voice memo that way and send it to the email that we just went over. So once again, we want to thank Matt for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure having you on, and we're glad that we could work out the scheduling to make sure that you got on, and we didn't have to be pressed for time or nothing. So it's been a blast. Thanks a lot for coming on, Matt.
Definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
and we expect cutting boards in the mail, too.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Listen, is that right? Yeah.
So,
payoffs?
Well, yeah, payoffs. But if we can at least expect that, then we hope that you're going to enter in the Woodshop 101 second annual cutting board challenge. That will be probably sometime this summer.
Oh man, absolutely! Just sign me up right now.
just go ahead and send them all the prizes. Dude,
I'm here to tell you though that competition's stiff. Last year was incredible, the kind of cutting boards that were being turned out. So. Yeah. That'll be cool. So we'd love to have you enter, Matt.
Yeah. And
awesome.
If y'all want to hear more from Matt, go sign up for our Patreon. And if you even donate $1, you get access to the after show that Matt's going to be on.
All right. So from Jeremy, Sam, and myself, and Matt, we want to wish you guys well. Please be safe in your shops, and we will talk to you on the after show. So 1, 2, 3. Boom!
Oh.